Alright, today we're going to continue with Chapter 2, focusing on Section 7, which is about solving proportions, okay? Today we're going to go over some key vocab, kind of review about what exactly a ratio and a rate is, and then we're going to go through and solve some proportions by doing what I call playing baseball, alright? Well, at the end we will get to some multi-step proportions, which deal with some variables and some equation principles that we've been working on in the past, so we'll just kind of continue to plug along through Chapter 2 and solve these proportions today. Alright, so our first bit talks about vocab, alright? Yesterday, or a couple of days ago, we were talking about ratios, which is basically a comparison of two numbers by division, okay? Ratios can be written in three ways. We said they can be either written with a colon, with a fraction, or with the actual word, 2 to 1, okay? So there's three ways to write those, and again, those just compare two numbers by division, okay? Proportion, key concept for today is the concept of a proportion or a proportional relationship, okay? Any equation that states that two ratios are equal would be a proportion, okay? So A over B is equal to C over D, or you could say A is to B as C is to D, okay? Proportional relationships, they deal a lot with fractions, all right? 1/2 and 2/4 would be proportional because they are basically the same fraction, right? If you were to divide 1 by 2, it's the same as if you were to divide 2 by 4. Okay, so again, it's an equation that states that two ratios are equivalent. All right, there's a lot of proportional relationships out there. Now, the method that I like to use when solving proportions, all right, 7/8 equals m over 12, or what number over 12, all right? I call it the baseball method. You may have seen it as cross multiplication and dividing, okay? So what I say is I multiply by the bat, or you cross multiply. Notice there's a little baseball bat that's formed, and then you divide by the ball, right? In this case, your ball is 8. So we're going to take 7 times 12 and divide it by 8, and that should equal m, okay? In our case, 7 times 12, that gets us to 84 over 8. All right, simplifies down to about 10.5. All right, m is equal to then 10.5, or 10.5. All right, so again, this method is called the baseball method. All you do is you multiply by the bat and divide by the ball. Okay, let's take a look at some more examples. All right, 4 over 3 is equal to 8 over x. So again, we multiply the bat, or multiply by 8 times 3, and we divide by the ball, or what's left. Okay, it's like a baseball bat hitting a ball. All right, 3 times 8 is 24, and we divide by the ball of 4. 24 over 4 is the same as 6. Okay, so in our case, x equals 6. All right. For letter B, y over 3 is equal to 3 over 5. Again, we multiply by that bat and divide by the ball, so 3 times 3 over the ball of 5, right? Equal to 9/5, or about 1.8, okay? About 1.8. Now, proportions are used all over the place, right? We use proportions all the time. Okay, let's say this situation comes up. If 5 pounds of pasta serves 14 people, how many pounds are needed to serve 49? Okay, we can set up a proportion to solve for how many pounds of pasta are going to be needed to serve 49 people. Okay, proportion will look like this. All right, let's take 5 pounds serves 14 people, and we're going to set that equal to x pounds, because that's what we're trying to solve for, lb's, to serve 49 people. Okay, so now again, we've got this proportion. We need to solve for this x value. All right, so we're going to cross multiply, so 49 times 5, and divide by 14. Okay, so 49 times 5, that's our cross multiplication, and divide by 14 people. Okay, 49 times 5, that gets us to about what? 245. And divide that by 14, and we should get our answer. All right, 245 divided by 14. 245 divided by 14 gets us to exactly 17.5. Okay? So in order to serve 49 people, we would need 17.5 pounds. Okay? This would be our final answer. So again, we're kind of just making comparisons, all right? 5 pounds serves 14, so we need to see how many pounds would serve 49, set up the proportion, and go. Okay? Now, the cross products property is how we check to tell whether a proportion is equivalent or not. Okay? So basically, the cross products property says if cross products of a proportion are equal, then the proportion is true. All right? 1/3 is equal to 3/9. Now that's one that we can kind of look and say, all right, that seems true. And the reason why it is because 1 times 9 is equivalent to what 3 times 3 is equal to. All right? 1 times 9 is 9, 3 times 3 is 9, so those two are equivalent. All right? And again, this is just your way of checking it, right? It's called the cross products property. 9 is equal to 9, we're good to go. Now, knowing that is going to help us with these multi-step equations, right? Or multi-step proportions, excuse me. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to use cross products to write a two-sided equation, all right? We've got some number minus 8 over 5 is equivalent to what number over 3, or what number plus 3 over 4, okay? So what we're going to do is this. We're going to multiply b minus 8 times 4, all right? b minus 8. We're going to multiply that by 4. Now, for this to be proportional, that has to be equal to 5 times b plus 3, or b plus 3 times 5. Okay? Now, since we're checking to see what number makes this a proportional relationship, all right, what we're going to do is set those equal to each other and solve for b. Okay, so again, this is why we need to make sure that we stay sharp on our equation principles. 4 times the quantity b minus 8, we're going to distribute here. All right, 4 times b is 4b. 4 times 8 is minus 32. Set that equal to 5 times b, or distribute here and here. 5b plus 15. Okay? Now, to solve this two-sided equation, we would need to subtract 4b from both sides and rewrite. These two are gone. We've got negative 32 is equal to 5b minus 4b, leaves us with just b plus 15. So we got negative 32 equals b plus 15. All right, negative 32 is equal to b plus 15. To solve this, we're going to subtract 15. Subtract 15. All right. These two are negative 32 minus 15, same as plus a negative 15. So this value should be equal to a negative 47. All right. Negative 47. So again, we've got to stay clear on our rules of equality and our equation rules in order to solve these things. Okay. Let's take a look at another one. 3/7 is equal to c plus 4 over 35. Okay. Now this one, again, we've got to check our cross products. So 3 times 35 has got to be equal to c plus 4 over 7. We're trying to figure out what number this needs to be. Okay. So we take 3 times 35. That should get us to about 105. 3 times 30 is 90. 3 times 5 is 15. Yep, 105 is equal to 7 times c plus 4. Okay. We see this sort of thing we need to distribute. Whenever we see parentheses, that's kind of our first thought. Okay, so we've got 7c 105 is equal to 7c plus 28. And then we solve it just like a two-step. Minus 28, minus 28. You get 7c is equal to 105 minus 28. So let's see here. 105 minus 28. Well, 105 minus 30 would be 75. So 105 minus 28 would be 77. All right, it should be 77. And then to solve this, we would divide by 7. Divide both sides by 7. All right. C is equal to, in this case, 77 divided by 7, 11. All right. C equals 11. Right? Now if we wanted to check this, C equals 11, we plug that back in. We've got 11 plus 4 over 35. Well, that's 15 over 35. And we're saying, is 15 35ths equivalent to 3/7? All right? Is 15 35ths equivalent to 3/7? So what we could do is divide top and bottom by 5, divide by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3, and 35 divided by 5 is 7. Okay? Now we'll work more with these multi-step proportions. These ones can be a little tricky in the next kind of session or once we work on it in class. Okay? All right, have a good day.